Hari Om. Sahana bhavatu, sahana bhunaktu, saha vidyam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we begin with our study of Brahma-saṁhitā. And I was thinking it would be very nice just to get accustomed to the verses of Brahma-saṁhitā. So the idea is that every time in the beginning of the class we can repeat the shlokas of Brahma-saṁhitā. Let's just practice. I think it will be actually really fun. So see how it will go. Just these are only the verses that finish with Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. And of course we will always start with the first verse, which is the famous Īśvara Krishna. Īśvara Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha Laksha Vriteshu Surabhira Vipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Satasam Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kvanantam Aravinda Dalaya Taksham Barhavatam Samasita Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandra Kalasadvanamalya Vamshi Ratna Gadam Pranayakedi Kalavilasam Shyamam Tribanga Lalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vritimanti Pasyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadujvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayauvanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhaktau Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastu Koti Satavatsara Sampragamyo Vayo Ratapi Manaso Munipungavanam Sopyasti Yat Prapadasimnya Vichintya Tattve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopi Asura Chaitum Jagadanda Kotim Yachaktirasti Jagadanda Chayayadanta Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yadbhava Bhavita Diyo Manujastataiva Samprapya Rupa Mahima Sanayana Bhusha Shuktaryameva Nigama Pratitastu Vanti Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Ananda-chinmaya rasa pratibhavitavis Tavirya eva nicharupa-taya kalavi Goloka eva nivasatya kilatma-bhuto Govindamadi-purusham tamaham bhajami. Premanjana-churita-bhakti-vilochanena Santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti Yam Shyama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Ramadi Murti Shukalani Yamena Tishtan Nanavatara Makarud Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramapumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagananta Koti Kotishvashesha Vasudhati Vibhuti Vinam Tad Brahmanishkalamanantamashesha Bhutam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Maya hiyasya jagadanda satani sute Traigunya tadvishaya veda vitayamana Sattva valambi parasatvam vishuddha sattvam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Ananda chinmaya rasatmataya manasu Yat praninam pratipalam smaratam upetya Lilaitena bhuvanani jayati ajashram Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Golokanam nijadam nitalechatasya Devi mahesha haridama suteshu teshu Te te prabhava nichaya vihitaschayena Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Shristi stiti pralaya sadhana shakti reka Chaye vayasya bhuvanani vibhati durga Ichanurupam apriyasya chachishtate sa Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Shiram yatada divikara vishesha yoga Sanjayena hitata pritakasti heto Yat sambhutam apitata samupaiti karyat Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Diparchireva hidasantaramabhupetya Dipayate vivritahetu samana dharma Yastadrikeva hicha vishnutaya vibhati Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Yat karanarnavajale bhajati sma yoga Nidramananda jagadanda saroma kupa Adara shakti mavalambya param swamurtim Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. 48. Yasyaika nishvasita kala matavalambya Jivanti loma vilaja jagadantanata Vishnur mahansaika yasya kala vishesho Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Bhasvan yatasma sakaleshu nijeshu teja Sviyam kiyat prakatayatyapitatva tatra Ramaya esha jagadanda vidana karta Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Yat pada pala vayugam vinidaya kumbha Dvandve pranama samaye saganadiracha Vignam vihantu malamasya jagatrayasya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Agnirmahi gaganamambumaruddishascha kalastatatma manasiti jagatrayani yasmad bhavanti vibhavanti vishanti yamcha govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami ya chakshuresha savita sakala grahanam Raja samasta suramurti rashesha teja yasya gyaya brahmati sambrita kala chakro govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami dharmo tapapa nichaya shrutayastapamsi brahma dikita patagavadayascha jiva Yadhatamatra vibhava prakata prabhava Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yastvendra gopa matavendra mahusvakarma Bandhanurupa palabhajana matanoti Karmani nirdhati kintu cha bhakti bhajam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yam kruda kama sahaja pranayadi biti Vatsalya moha guru gaurava sevya bhavai Sanchitya tasya sadrishim tanurapurete Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Shriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpataravo Druma Bhumischinta Mani Ganamahi Toyam Amritam Kataganam Natyam Gamanam Apivam Shipriya Saki Chitanandam Jyoti Param Apitat Ashvadyam Apicha Sayatra Kshirabdi Shravati Surabhivyascha Sumaham Nimeshardakyo Vavrajati Nahi Yatrapi Samaya Vajashveta Dvipam Tamaham Iha Golokamityam Vidantaste Shantakshiti Virala Chara Katipaye Hare Krishna. I think this will be nice practice. First, because the class is in the afternoon, so it helps you to get back to the study shape.
You mean after lunch?
Yes, and also it's a good opportunity to learn some of those verses, or if we already knew them, to kind of remind them to ourselves. So we will try to do this every time before the class. And now we can start with our introduction to Brahma-saṁhitā. In his Brahma-saṁhitā translation, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur introduces the work as follows. Quote, here one will find the collected essence of all Vaishnava scripture, including the Vedas, the Puranas, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. Sriman Mahaprabhu had this great literature copied very carefully, and then he brought it back with him to Sridham. Sridham means Sridham Mayapur. This Brahma-saṁhitā is worshipable for Vaishnavas and is also worthy of their thorough study. So, very precious literature. It was personally brought from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. A little later we will hear he found it in the temple of Adikeshava. And as Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, it's worshipable for Vaishnavas and it's worthy of their thorough study.
It's interesting that they still remember him in Adikeshwar. When we went there 2019, just before the COVID, the Pujari, the Pandit, the Brahmana there, didn't miss the opportunity to tell us, and he pointed a special place where Mahaprabhu was standing, not staying, standing. You have some mark on the ground, on the floor.
On the floor, yes. It was resembling a body that is offering dandavats. It was very interesting to see. And of course, he was very proud that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there in the temple, and he got Brahma-saṁhitā from there and brought it back to the Vaishnavas in Bengal. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami relates the discovery of the Brahma-saṁhitā. Quote, in the temple of Adi Keshava, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discussed spiritual matters among highly advanced devotees. While there, he found a chapter of the Brahma-saṁhitā. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was greatly happy to find a chapter of that scripture, and symptoms of ecstatic transformation, trembling, tears, perspiration, trance, and jubilation were manifested in his body. There is no scripture equal to the Brahma-saṁhitā as far as the final spiritual conclusion is concerned. So everything is in Brahma-saṁhitā. All the philosophical points that we have to know about our philosophy, everything can be found in Brahma-saṁhitā. Indeed, that scripture is the supreme revelation of the glories of Lord Govinda, for it reveals the topmost knowledge about him. Since all conclusions are briefly presented in the Brahma-saṁhitā, it is essential among all the Vaishnava literatures. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 9, 234 to 240.
It's interesting that all the conclusions are presented there, and in this sense, it is similar to Vedanta Sutra. But Vedanta Sutra is very philosophical and very terse. And here we have also beautiful poetry. So it is simultaneously very material and very philosophical and concise, which is very unique.
Yes, very deep. Recovery of the text marked a literary watershed for members of the Sri Brahma-saṁpradaya, what to speak of all Vaishnavas. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur states, the book was found in the south some 4 centuries ago, in the south some 4 centuries ago, and it is again brought into light in the very same country after a long time, just like the worshipping of the goddess Ganges by the offering of her own water. In his purport to the above Chaitanya Charitamrita verse, Srila Prabhupada summarizes the content of the text. Quote, the Brahma-saṁhitā is a very important scripture. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu acquired the 5th chapter from the Adi Keshava temple. In that 5th chapter, the philosophical conclusion of Achintya Bheda, Abheda Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference is presented. The chapter also presents methods of devotional service. The 18-syllable Vedic hymn discourses on the soul, the super soul, and fruitive activity, an explanation of Kama Gayatri, Kama Bija, and the original Mahavishnu, and a detailed description of the spiritual world, specifically Goloka Vrindavan. The Brahma-saṁhitā also explains the demigod Ganesha, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, the origin of the Gayatri mantra, the form of Govinda, and his transcendental position and abode. The living entities, the highest goal, the goddess Durga, the meaning of austerity, the 5 gross elements, love of Godhead, impersonal Brahman, the initiation of Lord Brahma, and the vision of transcendental love, enabling one to see the Lord. The steps of devotional service are also explained. The mind, Yoga Nidra, the goddess of fortune, devotional service in spontaneous ecstasy, incarnations beginning with Lord Ramachandra, deities, the conditioned soul and its duties, the truth about Lord Vishnu, prayers, Vedic hymns, Lord Shiva, the Vedic literature, personalism and impersonalism, good behavior, and many other subjects are also discussed. There is also a description of the sun and the universal form of the Lord. All these subjects are conclusively explained in a nutshell in the Brahma-saṁhitā. So here we can see so many topics in basically, 50 verses or so. And Srila Prabhupada is saying all these subjects are conclusively explained. It's not that like they are mentioned, oh, this is important subject about from the like Vedanta philosophy and this also. No, conclusion is given actually according on this point, according to our philosophy, what is the conclusion? What is the Siddhanta? So basically from this book, although small, like one chapter, we can get all the important conclusions about the Chintya Veda Vedanta philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So that was quote from C.C. Madhya, 240 purport. In spite of its seeming topical complexity, the essential core of the work is simple. It consists of the enlightenment of Lord Brahma by Lord Shri Krishna, followed by Brahma's beautiful prayers illuminating his divine vision. Upon awakening on the divine golden lotus flower grown from Vishnu's navel, Brahma finds himself in the dark and bewildered in the performance of his duties. The goddess of learning, Saraswati, appears and instructs him to meditate upon the Kama Bija mantra. Lord Brahma's meditation fructifies as he hears the sublime sound of Krishna's flute. Thus, initiated, Brahma begins to chant the Gayatri mantra. As Srila Prabhupada puts it, when the sound vibration of Lord Krishna's flute is expressed through the mouth of Brahma, it becomes Gayatri.
So it's very interesting. The sound of Krishna's flute went into Brahma's consciousness and came out as Gayatri.
Yes.
Of this, which Gayatri?
Brahma. Well, actually, I'm not sure.
We'll, little later, we'll find out
I'll find out. Yes.
which Gayatri. Apparently, it looks like it's the last Gayatri that the Brahmanas, the Vaishnavas from Gaudiya Sampradaya chant. But yeah, it's also, I was thinking, very interesting. Like he hears the sound, and yeah, from his mouth comes out explanation of what he hears practically.
Well, it's just also the Vedas came out of his Brahma. So he got the knowledge that Brahma Hridadikali, and he expressed the knowledge through his realization. So this is his own, like Srila Prabhupada. He says that the commentaries are his spoken ecstasies. These are the ecstasies of Brahma.
Yeah, exactly. These are the ecstasies of Brahma. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, page 322. That was the quote. Inspired by the vivid realizations born from Gayatri, Lord Brahma offered a series of spontaneous prayers to the object of his devotion, Sri Govinda. This core of the text stretches through verses 29 to 56, while a brief exposition by Lord Krishna on the path of bhakti brings the work to a close. Sri Brahma-saṁhitā is by nature a deeply technical scripture covering a broad array of topics, some of which may at times appear highly esoteric. Its profound and confidential philosophical conclusions are impenetrable without the keen insight of the acharyas. This study guide takes advantage of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's English edition, republished by the BBT. In the introduction to that volume, Bhaktisiddhanta expresses gratitude to his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, for his Prakashini, a Bengali translation of Jiva Goswami's commentary. He gives additional credit to one of his father's devout followers for the English rendition of the same. This guide also makes significant use of His Holiness Bhanu Swami's translation to Jiva Goswami's Brahma-saṁhitā Digdarshani Tika. With the help of all these purports, one may be fortunate enough to catch a glimpse into the hidden moods of the original text and to Sri Jiva Goswami's deep considerations. So, what we are going to study, the verses, they will be commented basically from two main personalities, Sri Jiva Goswami and Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Main quotes will be from these two places. And of course, we heard that Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was using the explanation of his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he was writing his commentaries. In contrast with certain other scriptural traditions, there is nothing vague about Brahma's description of the transcendental abode or the identity of its residence. No nihilistic nothingness, no blinding lights, no hovering, aloof, whimsy clouds. What we get instead is a vibrant, self-effulgent world in transcendental color, form, and sound. A sublimely variegated spiritual landscape populated by innumerable blissful, eternally liberated souls, united in their loving service to the all-blissful, all-attractive personality of Godhead. This may discomfit some of the aforementioned religionists. To them and to all of us victimized by our own material conditioning and bias, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur offers the following consolatory words. Now we have a quote from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The materialistic demeanor cannot possibly stretch to the transcendental autocrat. This impulse moves them to fix the position of the immanent to the indeterminate impersonal entity, no clue of which could be discerned by the moving earth and heaven through their organic senses. This scripture was not contrived for the sake of delighting the minds of crude persons through vulgar devices. Rather, it has manifested for the purpose of infusing spiritual strength into the hearts of those who are debilitated by the onslaught of their own perverse inclinations. The lines of this booklet will surely help such puzzled souls in their march towards the personality of the immanent lying beyond their sensuous gaze of inspection. Brahma-saṁhitā introduction.
So in other words, it is the proper medicine for all people who are in ignorance, just like Srila Prabhupada, his mantra, in the same way his guru here propounds that Brahma-saṁhitā is meant to cure the disease, not to indulge people in their imaginary speculative tendencies. Here, he calls them vulgar devices. The onslaught of their own perverse inclinations. So the truth is shown, God is the person, like Prabhupada wrote about his guru. The absolute is sentient, thou hast proved. The impersonal calamity, thou have removed.
Yes.
The same way Brahma-saṁhitā removes the impersonal calamity and cuts through the illusion. And this may be upsetting at first, but if one is sincere, it will gradually become more and more enjoyable, because truth and real knowledge and real love is actually pleasurable.
Yes. Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying, this scripture was not contrived for the sake of delighting the minds of crude persons through vulgar devices.
In other words, it is not meant to please the public. It is meant to cure the
Present
public.
absolute truth.
Yeah, for those who are sincere.
Yeah. For this reason, in his commentary to the 28th verse, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati implores his readings to study and try to enter into the spirit of his hymn with great care and attention as a regular daily function. The publisher joined with the commentator in inviting students to dive deeply into the sweet transcendental ocean of Brahma's hymns. Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat, the publishers. So the publishers are?
Well, the staff of the VA.
Okay. And especially this study guide was?
It was compiled by Jagannath Kirtan.
All glories to his service.
Yeah.
Brahma-saṁhitā overview. The following verse breakdown is not explicitly mentioned by any commentators. It is merely a rough guide designed to assist the student.
In other words, we take full responsibility for
What is written?
any discrepancies that any learner in the Vatican point out.
Yes.
It's our fault.
Verse 1, introduction. Verses, invocation. Yes. Verses 2 to 6, Dhamma Tattva, the Lord's spiritual abodes. Verses 7 to 9, Shakti Tattva, Krishna and his energies. Verses 10 to 17, primary creation, Vishnu Tattva, Shiva Tattva, and the Guna avatars. Verses 18 to 23, secondary creation, the appearance of Lord Brahma and the Jivas. Verses 24 to 28, the Kama Bija and Kama Gayatri reveals all. Verses 29 to 56, Govindamadi Purusham prayers. Verses 27 to 62, Abhideya.
57.
Yes, 57 to 62, Abhideya Tattva, dovetailing one's duties with the Lord's will. Shri Brahma-saṁhitā, text 1. Īśvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna is the supreme controller. He is the enjoyer of innumerable concerts and the possessor of an eternal form of knowledge and bliss. Though he is without origin, he is the source of all other forms of God and is the cause of all causes. He is Govinda, the boy who cares for the cows. The boy who cares for the cows. Jiva Goswami's commentary on the first verse of Brahma-saṁhitā serves as his invocation, Mangala Charana, and also establishes his hermeneutical method.
So this word, it's a rather fancy word, but it means simply, hermeneutics means simply what are the rules that have to be followed so that we can properly understand any given text. In this sense, in our case, it's the Brahma-saṁhitā. So how do we understand anything?
What is the real message of the text?
Yeah, how do we know that? Because
what is the most important?
Yeah, how do we know what is? For example, how do we know what is the message of Bhagavad Gita? How do we understand that the message of Bhagavad Gita is Sarvadaram Parityaja Some other people, they get different messages from Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
Some people say the message of
Karma
Bhagavad
Nirvadikara.
Right.
You have the right to do your duty.
Yeah,
you can do whatever
so
you like.
many people in India, especially, they like to quote this verse, but only the first time. Or some people say, people more advanced, they say the message, the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is karma yoga. They completely disregard bhakti, the last words of Krishna, completely ignore them. So they say, Sidya Sidyor Samabhutva Samattam Yaguchita. That's what Krishna says. Anashita karma palam. We have to be detached from the fruit of your work. That's the highest. What about Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Matyaji Manmana? So there are rules for interpretation of the scriptures, and these rules are explained in the Vedic literature. Usually the Karma Vimarsikas, they are dealing with these things, and our acharyas, they also accept these rules, Paralingas, and they are one is supposed to look at the beginning of the work, at the end, the opening and the conclusion. Like Jiva Goswami also, he uses this method to analyze the message of Bhagavatam. And he points out what is the beginning and what is the conclusion of Bhagavatam. And it is not necessarily the first and the last verse of the work. Maybe the second or the second last. And then what is being glorified throughout the work, what is repeated, what is something unique. And according to this, it is ascertain the message of the conclusion, what is the message of the work. So also, Jiva Goswami explains that the Paribhasha Sutra of Bhagavatam is Krishna's to Bhagavan's friend. No verse from Gita, from Bhagavatam or from Gita or from any other Vedic scripture can be interpreted in such a way that it contradicts this verse. It is just like the king on the battlefield, or the general. He is the supreme authority, and no soldier or any general or anyone on the battlefield can say or do anything that contradicts the will of the king. In the same way, this verse is like the king, the supreme authority amongst all Vedic verses. This is realized and understood by following these rules of hermeneutics. Okay.
Is there any other name for hermeneutics, like from Sanskrit?
Yeah, should be, but it doesn't come to mind. But Mimamsa, usually. Or Tatparalingas, they call it also. Tatparalingas. The 6 ways, principles by which we can determine
the essence of a work. Manga Shri Jiva's objective, Vastu Nirdeshatmaka, is to prove how the Brahma-saṁhitā represents the essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and hence all the scriptures.
So it's something like Bhagavatam, because it represents the essence of the essence, because Bhagavatam is the essence of the scripture. Brahma-saṁhitā is the essence of the essence.
Yes. He offers obeisances, namas, kriyatmaka, to his uncle and guru, Shiva Rupa Goswami. The benediction the text offers, asir vadatmaka, is remembrance of Krishna and the joy derived therefrom. Quote, may the excellence of Krishna's form be honored in my heart. It is by Krishna's mercy that I desire to explain the Brahma-saṁhitā. Concerning his method of interpretation, Jiva Goswami follows the principle established in Tattva Sandarbha, that the import of a work can be gleaned only by understanding its author's heart. Quote, this work, passed down by the sages, though difficult to understand, becomes filled with meaning on careful consideration. In considering the proper meaning of this work, I'll take shelter of the greatest among sages. Vyasadeva. Note 1. In the conclusion of this work, Jiva Goswami states, though a person with various motives declare many alternative reading and meanings, I have obtained the verified the correct version. So Jiva Goswami is following the understanding of Srila Vyasadeva.
That is very good.
So that means the conclusion of Brahma-saṁhitā and the philosophy presented in Brahma-saṁhitā will be not different from the philosophy of Srimad Bhagavatam, philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, philosophy of all the other Vedic literatures presented from Srila Vyasadeva.
There is a consistency because the intent of the author remains the same. Vedanta Krit Veda Vitavachaham, Krishna explains, I am to be known by all the Vedas. I am the compiler of Vedanta and the knower of the Vedas.
So this is very important because if in some places the text looks a little bit unclear, yes, and esoteric, you can immediately refer about the same philosophical points to Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita and get the clear understanding and explanation.
Yes, it's interesting. So if you're not sure what does it say, then you can go back to Bhagavatam and rest assured that it says whatever Bhagavatam says. For example, it cannot say that Shiva is the supreme. If you have, for example, doubt that Ganesh is the supreme, of course this doubt is answered and found or Shiva from the Brahma-saṁhitā, then you can go back to Bhagavatam and prove that Krishna is supreme, because the intent of the author is to establish Krishna's words. And that's very important philosophically also. How do you understand a work? How do you understand a book? You have to come in contact with the author of the book, right?
Yes.
There are some, well, there's a normal understanding, but there are some people in the West, they have this weird concept that if you want to understand, they call this closed reading the text. They say that by ascertaining the meaning of a text, any connection with the author is not required or even can be harmful. So you should not actually go back to the author. The text becomes, once it is written, it becomes kind of separated energy, binna prakriti, and then you have to just interpret the text, just forget about the author. That's really weird.
Yes, because he's the person that gave the message, and without his help, it would be.
I mean, just common sense. You send you get a message. Let's say you get a letter from a friend, and you read the letter, email, let's say, and you cannot understand what's the meaning. So what do?
You ask your friend.
You isolate your friend. You just say, okay, he will just.
It doesn't matter what he means. I will understand it on my own.
Or you just call him and say, hey, look, I got this message. What do you mean by saying?
Yes. And of course, we know that the natural commentary on the Vedic philosophy is Srimad Bhagavatam. So in case something is not clear, we just have to go back to Srimad Bhagavatam, where the author itself explains what is the proper understanding on our philosophy.
Yeah, there are terms for this. Our teacher, Vikram Varama, who is explaining these terms for that, Nyaya, Nyayaka. You have a scripture, like for example, you have a scripture called the Upanishads. No, you have the Vedas. Okay. The purpose of the Vedas is clarified in the Upanishads. So the Vedas is this type of scripture that has to be clarified, and the Upanishads are clarifying the purpose of the Vedas. No, so now you have the Upanishads, their message, their purpose is clarified in the Vedanta Sutra. The meaning of the Vedanta Sutra is clarified in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Like this. And then Srimad Bhagavatam is self-effusion. It is clarified by the author. By the author himself and by all these self-realized souls who are coming on the Bhagavatam.
The doubt may arise that our Brahma-saṁhitā is but the partial remains of the entire work, and thus it is incomplete and inconclusive. Sri Jiva addresses this as follows. Though the Brahma-saṁhitā has 100 chapters, this 5th chapter is complete in itself, since it expresses compactly the essential meaning of all the scriptures. What persons of pure intelligence relies in Srimad Bhagavatam and other works is presented in this work.
So here's the proof of what we have been talking. Is a consistent line of authority between Bhagavatam and Brahma-saṁhitā.
Yes, sometimes there are people there saying we cannot accept the Vedas as ultimate philosophical authority, because in the different Vedic scriptures we find different, apparently different conclusions. Like in one scripture, it is established that Krishna is the supreme, another scripture Shiva, another scripture Agni. In one place it is said that bhakti is the goal, in another place it is said that karma is the goal, in another place jnana is the goal. So it doesn't make sense, because it doesn't look like it's one body of knowledge that gives only one complete siddhanta.
Consistent,
yes,
unified understanding.
And that's why we cannot accept them as a serious authority. But here, Sri Jiva Goswami has explained, no, that is not the truth. Actually, the situation is very consistent. Vedas, Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahma-saṁhitā, they present one philosophy, the same philosophy.
And one should remember that if somebody makes this claim usually comes from people who are from the enemy's camp. Of course, we don't have enemies, but there are people who are coming to India from alien origin, who are trying to discredit the Vedas and to establish their own doctrines. And this was one of their favorite arguments that they leveled against the Vedas, is that they are inconsistent, that they are propounding polytheism, and therefore the acharyas, they took great care in presenting the real conclusion of the Vedas, which is monotheistic, long before all these people, they realized, they woke up one morning and they understood that I'm monotheist. Long before that, the Vedas were monotheistic, there is only one God. So if somebody has these doubts, you should be careful, because one of the offenses against the Vedas is the Quran is to blaspheme the Vedas. It's Shruti and Smriti. Therefore, Madhvacharya, he has commentary on Rig Veda, some of the verses of Rig Veda, and there he explains, for example, with the Agnimine Purohitam Yagyasya Devam Ritrijam. There he explains in the commentary that all these words refer to Krishna. When because usually people say that, well, in the Vedas there are hymns glorifying different demigods. Okay, Madhvacharya makes the point. Actually, these hymns, they glorify Krishna, Vishnu, because he is Indra, he is Agni, he is the origin of all these demigods. He gives them their powers, the benedictions that they can have and give to their worshippers come from Vishnu. And when certain demigod is glorified, the super excellent state of this glorification goes back to Vishnu. Not to Agni, not to Indra, not to Varuna, not to Mitra. But they're actually again establishing the one entity, supreme personality of God.
So either Krishna is glorified directly, or he is glorified indirectly through the demigods who are his parts and parcels. But in both cases, Krishna is
the object of glorification in both cases. And therefore also...
That's very difficult to be understood.
Yeah, not easy. And also therefore some unexperienced Vaishnavas, they conclude that the Upanishads, they're talking about impersonal Brahman. Well, actually, this impersonal Brahman, we know from Gita.
It's also Krishna.
Brahma-saṁhitā pratishtaham, amrita-sevyasya. It is also, it's Krishna's bodily children. And if you know what you're doing, if you understand the Veda, then you can quote Upanishads, as just like our acharyas do. You can quote the Vedas, you can quote Upanishads, and establish again Krishna's Bhagavan Swayam. Just like Bhakti-yoga, he has works like a Maya Sutra, I believe, where he gives statements, he writes the sutras, and he proves, substantiates all the sutras by quoting from Shruti, Smriti, both from Shruti and Smriti, and from the Puranas. Well, Puranas are Smriti. But there was Shruti, from Smriti. Yes.
What persons of pure intelligence relies in Srimad Bhagavatam and other works is presented in this work. What I have explained extensively in Krishna Sandarbha, I have reviewed and I have used some points to explain the Brahma-saṁhitā. Thus my heart has become joyful.
So Vyasa's heart was not joyful before he
Revised Bhagavatam.
Revised Bhagavatam.
Yes.
Then he became joyful. And he was funny. He was always joyful.
What do the above mentioned works have in common? They each establish that the absolute truth is a person, and that person is Krishna. As Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur puts it, the devotee should consider that these two books tend to the identical Krishna, who is the fountainhead of all transcendental and mundane entities, and has a manifestive exhibition of the plenary variegatedness. End of the quote. In the case of Brahma-saṁhitā, this is evident from the first line of the very first verse, Īśvara Parama Krishna. And now what follows is
analysis.
Yes, analysis of the first verse, which
word for word
is very famous. And also, like, it's very interesting that the whole chapter begins with this verse. So immediately it is shown that, okay, this is the main subject that is going to be discuss, and this is the most important subject. It's not secondary, it's not on the last place what we're discussing, no, first thing.
And it's the first and the last. It's Alpha and Omega. It's in the beginning and in the end, and in the middle. Krishna says, I am the beginning, the end, and the middle of everything. Of all. Yes.
Krishna. Having concluded the invocation, Jiva Goswami now proceeds to explain the significant words in the verse. Beginning with the name Krishna, Jiva Goswami here summarizes the evidence for Krishna's position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, as in the rest of the work, Jiva Goswami substantiates his points by making reference to Srimad Bhagavatam. Quote, the Bhagavatam verse Etecham Shakala Pumsa Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam establishes that Krishna is the primary form of Bhagavan, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28. The same is stated in the first verse of Brahma-saṁhitā. It begins with Īśvara Parama Krishna to indicate at the very beginning of the work that Krishna is the principal form of God. This is similar to filling a pot with milk in the beginning, thus putting the pot to the best use first. Payasa kumbha purayatiti nyaya.
It's just like buying a new computer. The first thing you do with the computer is play Srila Prabhupada's lecture.
Yeah, so basically,
or read some book.
you buy a pot, and what is the idea of a pot?
Yeah, it has to be used in Krishna's service.
Yes.
That's the first thing you do. You put Krishna's best favorite food in this pot and offer it to Krishna, which is milk.
So what is the use of a perfect text if Krishna is not glorified already in the beginning?
Right. This is the Narada Muni's point of yesterday. In the beginning of Bhagavatam, he says, even transcendental literature, which doesn't glorify exclusively the glories of the pure devotional service in Krishna, doesn't look right. Let alone literature that encourages, it's a mundane and encourages material sentiment.
Yes. This point is advanced by no shortage of other scriptures. For example, in the Chandogya Upanishad of the Samaveda is found Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devakinandanaya, unto Krishna Vasudeva, the son of Devaki. By placing the word Krishna first in a series of names of the Lord, the supreme position of Krishna's name is indicated. So now there will be a little bit discussion how out of all names of Krishna describing his qualities, the name of Krishna is the topmost, the highest and the greatest. To demonstrate the exclusivity of this name, Jiva Goswami quotes a verse from the Brahma-saṁhitā. Sahasranamnam punyanam trir avritya tu yat palam ekavritya tu krishnasya namaikam tat prayachati. The auspicious result obtained by reciting the 1,000 names of the Lord 3 times can be obtained by reciting the name of Krishna once. We have note this statement of the Brahmanda Purana that 3,000 names of Vishnu are equal to 1 name of Krishna also applies to the name Govinda mentioned later in the Brahma-saṁhitā. Anadiradir Govinda and Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Though the person indicated by the word Govinda is Krishna, the word Govinda is used to indicate his special quality of herding the cows. So name Govinda is stressed even more to show that the form of Krishna, who is in Goloka Vrindavan engaged in a specific sweet pastimes, is the highest, higher than even Krishna, who is in Dwarka and in Mathura. Because Krishna can be present in Goloka Vrindavana, Krishna can be present in Mathura, in Dwarka, but his pastimes there are different. So in order to give stress to the highest form and pastimes of the Lord, the name Govinda is used. Why? Because Govinda especially means Krishna, who is on Goloka Vrindavan, who is taking care for the cows, who is performing amazing pastimes with the cow boys or with the puppies. Govinda, who is giving pleasure to the senses and the cows. This refers to a statement. This holy name of Ramachandra is equal to 1,000 holy names. Sorry. This holy name of Ramachandra is equal to 1,000 holy names of Lord Vishnu. Vrihad Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra Uttarakanta Padma Purana 72, 335. Srila Prabhupada comments, simply by chanting the name of Krishna once, one can attain the same results achieved by chanting the holy name of Rama 3 times. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 933 purport. This is significant because some thinkers maintain that Krishna and Rama are avatars of Vishnu and hence subordinate. To lay this doubt to rest, Jiva Goswami quotes a verse from 10th canto. So, by quoting this verse that 1,000 names of Vishnu are equal to one name of Rama, or one name of Rama, and 3 names of Rama are equal to one name of Krishna. Actually, it shows that the power of the name of Krishna is higher than the names of Rama and Vishnu. So then how the incarnation of Vishnu or Ramachandra is higher than Krishna if his name is more powerful? So it's a very powerful quote and also powerful proof how Krishna is the supreme manifestation of God. And now Jiva Goswami quotes another verse again to show how actually Vishnu is incarnation of Krishna, not the other way around. The unique wings of Krishna, the son of Nanda, is stated by Garga. The uniqueness of Krishna, the son of Nanda, is stated by Garga. Your son, Krishna, appears as an incarnation in every millennium. In the past, 3 different colors, white, red, and yellow. And now all these are included in one form. Thus he is called Krishna. Your son has many forms and names according to his transcendental qualities and activities. These are known to me, but people in general do not understand them. Here then is the meaning of these 2 verses. In every yuga, the body of the person known as Krishna, accepting various avatar forms, appears with the colors white, red, and yellow. These avatars with white, red, and yellow color have now directly appeared within Krishna as his limbs, now that Krishna has descended on earth. Thus, Krishna is the principal name and form, since he is indicated as the cause of all other forms and as the most attractive among all the forms. Thus, all the other forms belongs to him. Therefore, prominence is given to Krishna's name because that name denotes the person who is the most prominent because of his specific qualities. So two quotes were given. One quote was proving that the name of Krishna is the highest name, and the other quote was showing that the form of Krishna is the highest form. Like all other forms of all other avatars, they are within the form of Krishna. That was the meaning of the second verse. And that's why in this first verse of Brahma-saṁhitā, he starts with Īśvara Parama Krishna. It's not Vishnu, it's not Rama, it's Krishna. Of course, all these are the same person, but to be shown the superiority of the form of Krishna and name Krishna, it's used the name Krishna. Etymology of Krishna. Jiva Goswami then explains the etymological origin of the word Krishna using the following definition. Krishir bu vachaka shabdo nascha nivriti vachaka tayor aikyam param brahma Krishna iti abhidiyate. Krish means existence and na means bliss. Combined together, the two roots indicate that Krishna is the supreme form of God. Mahabharata, Udyoga Parva, 71:4. So Krish can mean existence, referring in this case to the basis and the cause of the existence of everything, or that entity by whose power all objects exist. According to Jiva Goswami, Krish also means to overpower, in the sense of he controls all. It also means attraction, signifying that Krishna causes attraction or is attractive to all things. Srila Prabhupada also gives the following meaning.
So Krishna is attractive and he attracts.
Yes. So three main meanings were given to Krishna. He is Krish, not Krishna, but Krish in the first part of the name Krishna. It may mean existence, that entity by whose power all objects exist, or he who controls everything, the ultimate controller, or the person who is the most attractive.
So it's again some boundary that word, Satchitananda. Again, so the first one is existence, because we exist by Krishna's mercy, otherwise we don't exist. Like this, there is this Irish philosopher, Berkeley, he says, esse est percipi, that means exist. To exist, that means to be perceived. Only the things that I perceive that they exist. Something doesn't exist. So Krishna can say that. And this is directly quote from Bhagavatam. I cannot give you a reference. If Krishna doesn't, anyway, it exists because it's eternal, but doesn't operate, it's not manifest if he doesn't perceive something. So the first one is existence, and then the second one is
Controller of all.
That means chit, knowledge. Knowledge is the energy of, that you know how to, you know the field of activity and you can operate the field according to your desire. And then the last one is another.
Attraction. The attractor of all things.
Yeah, you attract it because of this.
Yeah, nice. Good. So Srila Prabhupada gives also some extra meaning. Krishi means repetition of birth, and Na means one who checks it. He is Krishna, repetition of birth, one who checks. He is Krishna, therefore our repetition of birth can be checked only by God, otherwise not possible. Harim vinana mrityum taranti. Nobody can stop his repetition of birth and death without having the causeless mercy of God. So that's additional meaning that Srila Prabhupada is giving. Krishna, the person who can stop the repetition of birth and death. Okay, and then we have that's page 7 on the top. Next, the word na, meaning bliss, signifies that Krishna is full of bliss and is the cause of bliss to all. Considered together, Jiva Goswami comments that the word Krishna means he who is the greatest by form and qualities, since he is the personification of bliss and is the ruler and attractor of all beings. This is very substantial definition of the name Krishna.
Ruler, attractor.
Yeah, we can read it one more time. He who is greatest by form and qualities, so his form is the best, his qualities are the best, since he is the personification of bliss, because he is the bliss itself.
Anandamaya Purusha.
Yes. Anandamaya Vyasa.
Rasa Vasa.
And he is the ruler and attractor of all beings. He controls everybody and he attracts everybody.
It's interesting, ruler and attractor. That means he's benevolent or attractive master. And for some of his devotees, he's not even the master, because they are his master. They control him. Those who pure devotees control him.
It's very interesting how Krishna, he is the supreme ruler or controller, but he is controlling by manifesting the most attractive qualities and attractive form and bliss.
Well, that's the same way how he is controlled, because he is controlled by pure devotion.
Yes.
In the same way, he controls everyone by his wonderful transcendental qualities.
Because you can control someone by fear, or you can control someone by strength, or you can control someone by
Worship,
love, bliss, or by your high qualities. So these are different ways you can control someone. All are valid and all can work, but they are not all on the same level.
yeah, and we see that Krishna actually doesn't control our force. He's not interested. He doesn't.
Or maybe we can say Krishna is controlling in these minor ways in different manifestations. Like, let's say, Krishna in the form of time, he controls by fear.
By fear, by force. Like Durga, Devi Dam. But Krishna personally, he doesn't like to do these things. Krishna doesn't impose himself on atheistic communities on planet Earth right now, for example. He doesn't interfere. He doesn't need to establish himself.
He's interested from something else, loving relationships. We have a note here. 4. Some monists argue that the word Krishna simply refers to the impersonal Brahman. They consider existence, Krish, and bliss, Na, to be equivalent words with equivalent meanings to designate the one Brahman who is devoid of all qualities.
So it means no existence.
Simply existence and simply bliss, without form, without qualities. That's their interpretation. Who is devoid of all qualities. Besides the fact, this would be redundant and repetitious. This conclusion is overturned by Kumarila Bhatta's statement. The conventional meaning of words overrides the etymological meaning. When the context indicates a contradiction to the etymological meaning, the etymological meaning cannot be applied.
So this is what they do. They try to apply etymological meaning. They give up the direct meaning of Krishna, which refers directly to son of Nanda.
Correct.
Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes.
So, and this is confirmed by the context. Īśvara, Parama, Krishna, Satchitana.
So Krishna is everywhere described as a personality who has a form, who has qualities,
including in Brahma-saṁhitā.
Yes, relationships with other living entities, but they are taking it from this context and they're saying, no, actually, you can take also and this meaning from the name Krishna, meaning just existence and bliss, without form, without qualities. The impersonal etymological interpretation of the word Krishna contradicts the accepted meaning Krishna as the son of Devaki. Jiva Goswami quotes the Namakaumudi to show how the conventional and etymological meanings coincide. Krishna Shabdasya Tamala Shyamala Tvishi Shri Yashoda Stanandaye Para Brahmani Rudihi. Krishna indicates the Supreme Brahman, Para Brahman, with the complexion of a dark tamala tree who drank milk from the breast of Yashoda. So yes, he's the Supreme Brahman. We don't
Reject this.
don't reject and don't argue with this. But the Supreme Brahman actually is a person. He's the Supreme Person. And he can manifest qualities and he can have relationships. He has a form. And this form is full with bliss. Bhagavan.
Or the other one, Tamam Svam.
The Lord reveals to whoever he himself
the
chooses.
Brahman reveals to whoever he chooses. I think the next verse quoted is the verse that says,
this is also shown in the Vasudeva Upanishad. Devaki Nandano Nikilam Anandayat. The son of Devaki gives bliss to all. Jiva Goswami concludes, thus Krishna indicates he who is composed solely of bliss, who is unchanging and eternally perfect, and who is the son of Devaki. So yes, Krishna, he possesses all these qualities of bliss, of what was the other quality? Existence, bliss, but also many personal qualities.
There's this verse stating that let other worship
Oh, yes.
The Vedas, some worship demigods. You know this?
Yes, some worship Shrutis, some worship Smritis, another they worship Mahabharata. But when it comes to me, I worship the Nand Maharaj, in which back courtyard the Supreme Brahman is growing.
So this verse cannot be realized, understood by this Maharaj. This is beyond their paycheck.
Yes.
It's too much. The Supreme Brahman that is growing.
Okay, and then we'll read about the meaning of Īśvara, and with this we'll conclude for today. Īśvara. Jiva Goswami next analyzes the word Īśvara. Since the word Īśvara refers to Krishna who had just been described, Īśvara here means the ultimate controller of all things. This is included in the meaning of the word Krishna when we consider another meaning of the word Krishna as given in Gautamiya Tantra. The Lord is called Krishna because he overpowers Karshayat, all moving and non-moving entities in the universe in his form of time. Even the word for Kala, time, means to control. In the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a complete description of this controlling aspect of Krishna given by Uddhava. No one is equal to him or superior to him. He is master of the three energies and three Vishnus. All his desires are fulfilled by Lakshmi, and his rulership over his devotees' pastimes and qualities. His feet are praised by the sound of 10 million crowns of the devatas offering respects while presenting gifts. Srimad Bhagavatam 3-21. So Īśvara means the ultimate controller of all things. And the meaning of this word is automatically included in the meaning of the word Krishna, because we already explained that Krishna means, Krish, one of the meaning is someone who controls. But again, to be explicitly clear, this Krishna, he is Parama Īśvara. He is the supreme Īśvara, the supreme controller. And then next time we will continue with the meaning of the word Parama. It has, of course, the meaning of he is the supreme controller, but also Sri Jiva Goswami is presenting another interesting meaning as well. So we will go into this next time. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki, Shritai Gaura Prabhupada.